Hello everyone, I hope you enjoy the video. After all the hardships of the past, Tuna and Alex finally found their own peaceful haven. Their little house nestled on a green hillside, where every morning sunlight streamed through the windows and the fragrance of grass and flowers filled the air. Every morning, Tuna usually woke up earlier to prepare breakfast with simple but heartwarming dishes. Sometimes Alex pretended to be lazy in bed, just to hear Tuna's cheerful laughter calling him to get up. They would sit together, enjoying their meal while chatting about the small things in life. After breakfast, Alex went to work at a small workshop nearby, while Tuna tended to her beloved flower garden and cats. They didn't need luxury, just peace and each other was enough. In the afternoon, as the sun sank behind the mountains, Alex came home with a gentle smile. He often brought funny stories from his day, while Tuna proudly showed him her newly bloomed flowers or a dish she had just learned. Their laughter echoed through the house, filling it with life. On weekends, they strolled hand in hand along the riverside, sharing dreams of the future. Though they never made grand promises, their eyes were full of absolute trust. Their love was no longer fiery and intense like at the beginning, but more mature and steady. They understood that true happiness didn't lie in big things, but in having someone to walk beside you, sharing every little joy and offering support when you stumble. For Tuna, every day spent with Alex was a precious gift. For Alex, seeing Tuna's peaceful smile was his greatest happiness. That day, as usual, Tuna left her baby in Grandma Tang's care before going to work. Grandma Tang was kind-hearted and loved the child as if it were her own grandchild, so Tuna trusted her completely. In the morning, she fed the baby, changed its clothes, and lovingly cuddled it. But for some reason, she felt unusually tired that day, her body heavy, her breath uneven. After giving the baby a bottle, Grandma Tang gently laid the child beside her, intending only to rest her eyes for a few minutes. "I'll wake up soon and play with you," she thought, before drifting off to sleep. The little house became unusually quiet. Only the ticking of the clock, the hum of the fan, and the steady breathing of the grandmother and child could be heard. No one knew that outside, a shadowy figure had been watching from early on. It was a middle-aged man, with a gaunt face but eyes filled with calculation and greed. He had been observing this house for days, knowing well that every morning Tuna left her baby with Grandma Tang, and that the old woman was frail, unable to resist if something happened. When he was sure no one was around, he silently pushed the door that was only half closed. The creak of the hinge sounded faintly, but Grandma Tang didn't stir. The baby slept soundly, tiny fists curled loosely, unaware of the danger creeping closer. He stepped softly, careful not to make a sound. In his eyes gleamed desire, for he knew that if he could take the baby and sell it, the money would let him live in indulgence for a while. He bent down, his rough, veined hands reaching out to lift the baby off the bed. The child stirred, half opening its clear little eyes and babbling as if about to cry. Startled, afraid the sound would wake Grandma Tang, he hurriedly pulled out a large handkerchief and covered the baby's face to muffle any noise. The baby squirmed in the stranger's arms, its tiny hands grasping at the empty air, but its movements grew weaker. He held the child tighter and was about to leave. At that moment, Grandma Tang shifted in her sleep, letting out a sigh. He froze, his heart pounding wildly, but when he saw she didn't wake, he curled his lips into a sinister grin and quickly headed for the door. Tuna had no idea. At that same time in the office, Tuna was still busy with her work. She smiled as she chatted with colleagues, even thinking to herself that she would try to leave early today to take her baby to the park. In her mind, her child was safe in Grandma Tang's arms, the person she trusted most. She had no way of knowing that just a few streets away, a horrifying disaster had already begun. The strange man clutched the baby tightly and hurried out of the small house. The street was quiet. He slipped into narrow alleys to avoid being seen by neighbors. The child squirmed, its wide eyes darting around as if sensing something unfamiliar, lips quivering, about to burst into tears. He squeezed tighter and muttered under his breath, "Be quiet. Once I sell you, my life will change." Sweat trickled down his face, not from exertion, but from fear mixed with excitement. This was the merchandise he had been eyeing for days, just waiting for the right opportunity. Inside the house, Grandma Tang was still lost in exhaustion. Only when the roar of a motorbike engine echoed from the alley and faded into the distance did she jolt awake. Her aching back made her shift positions, and her hand instinctively reached to her side. Empty. She gasped, eyes widening at the sight of the cold, vacant bed. In disbelief, she ripped away the blanket, her hoarse voice breaking into cries. "Baby, where are you? My dear child." Her trembling legs carried her around the room in panic. She checked the kitchen, glanced out into the yard, but there was no trace of the baby. The whole house spun before her eyes, her heart thudding like it would burst. Her mind flashed to the half-closed front door. In a daze, she realized the terrifying truth: the child had been taken. Grandma Tang stumbled outside into the alley, her desperate screams shattering the silence. "Help! Someone has taken the baby!" Her cries threw the entire neighborhood into chaos. A woman abandoned her cooking pot, another dropped the laundry she was hanging and ran over. People gathered, faces stricken with shock. "What's wrong, Grandma Tang?" It's Na's baby." "Someone took the baby," she sobbed until she could hardly breathe. No more words were needed. Several young men immediately jumped on their motorbikes, chasing in the direction the engine sound had gone. Others ran to the intersection to search for clues, while trembling hands dialed the police. At the company, Tuna had just finished signing a stack of papers when her phone rang. The panicked voice of a neighbor, broken with horror, blurted out. "Na! Come home right now. Your baby's been taken." The words pierced her heart like a knife. Tuna froze, her blood turning cold. The phone slipped from her grasp and clattered onto the desk, but she no longer felt anything. Her hands trembled, her lips moved, but no sound came out. A moment later, she snapped back to life, bolting out of the office, tears streaming down her face, blurring her vision. My baby, she cried, frantically hailing a taxi. Inside the car, her mind spun in chaos. The image of her little child sobbing in the arms of a stranger burned vividly in her mind. Every imagined cry sliced deeper into her heart, leaving her breathless. "My child, where are you? You must wait for me. I will find you, I swear I will." Her mother's heart screamed, urging her to be faster, to do whatever it took. In that moment, Tuna no longer cared about her job, her exhaustion, or even herself. Nothing mattered anymore. The only thing that existed in her world was that her baby was in the hands of evil. The taxi sped through the evening wind, but for Tuna, every second dragged on like an eternity. When the taxi stopped at the alley, Tuna almost jumped out before she could even pay. She ran straight to Grandma Tang's house, where a crowd of neighbors had already gathered. Seeing her, Grandma Tang burst into tears, collapsing to her knees as she pleaded. "Na! I'm so sorry. I was too tired, too careless, someone took the baby away. It's all my fault." Hearing that, Tuna's world collapsed. Her legs trembled, too weak to hold her up, and she crumpled onto the cold ground. Tears streamed down her face, her heart aching with every beat. Only one thought consumed her: her child was everything, her most precious treasure. Without her baby, she had no reason left to live. The devastating news quickly reached Alex. Within hours, he dropped everything at work and rushed home. When he saw Tuna sitting in a corner, dazed, her eyes clouded from endless crying, Alex could no longer hold back. He rushed forward and wrapped her tightly in his arms. "Na, you have to stay strong. We will find our baby. I promise, no matter how hard it is, I'll be with you to bring our child back. You are not alone." Tuna buried her face against his chest, sobbing uncontrollably. Her body shook as she choked out between gasps. "My baby is my only one. I can't lose my child. Alex, I can't live without the baby." Alex held her even tighter, his hand gently stroking her hair, but in his determined eyes burned a fierce resolve. He knew that more than comfort, what mattered most now was action. Without wasting a moment, Alex immediately coordinated with the neighbors and reported to the police. He, along with several young men from the neighborhood, spread out across the streets, searching for clues. Every market stall, tea house, and alley was visited. Alex ignored his exhaustion. Even as night fell, he continued the search. Each time he returned home and saw Tuna clutching their child's tiny shirt in tears, his heart twisted in pain. But it only gave him more strength to vow silently. I will never let them be separated. Even if I have to turn this city upside down, I will bring our baby back. In the darkness of tragedy, Alex's love and companionship became the only light that kept Tuna from falling apart. While the whole neighborhood was still in turmoil and the police had just arrived to take statements, a middle-aged man came rushing in. It was Uncle Ty, the motorbike taxi driver from the market entrance, a familiar face to everyone. Seeing Tuna collapsed in Alex's arms, he spoke anxiously and loudly. I saw it. I saw a strange man carrying the baby past the market this afternoon. The entire house fell silent, every gaze fixed on him. Tuna instantly lifted her head, her tear-stained eyes flickering with hope. Uncle, where did you see my baby? Please, tell me clearly, I beg you, she cried, clutching Uncle Ty's hand with trembling fingers. He panted for breath before slowly recalling. A little after 2 p.m., I was waiting for customers when I saw a man sneaking along, carrying a baby. The child was wearing a light blue shirt and white pants. It looked just like Na's little one. The baby was squirming, and the man held on tight, covering its face with a cloth. I grew suspicious and asked him, but he just shot me a look, then jumped on a motorbike that was parked nearby and sped off. Hearing this, Tuna broke into sobs, for those were exactly the clothes she had dressed her baby in that morning. Alex quickly pressed for details. Do you remember the license plate? Which way did he go? Uncle Ty nodded firmly. The plate. I only caught the last numbers, 38. He rode toward the old bridge, the road that leads to the highway. The police immediately recorded his statement and relayed it to the patrol teams in the area. One unit was dispatched along the highway route, while neighbors spread out to check the smaller roads leading out of town. Meanwhile, Alex tightened his grip on Tuna's hand, his eyes full of determination. Na, listen to me, we finally have a lead. We will find our baby. I'll go with them all the way until our child is safely back. Tuna leaned on Alex's shoulder, tears still flowing, but in her heart a faint spark of hope began to glow. In the midst of despair, the appearance of a witness was like a guiding light in the darkest night. As soon as they received Uncle Ty's information, the police mobilized. One group headed toward the highway, while another checked the small alleys around the market in case the kidnapper tried to hide. Alex refused to stay behind. He volunteered to join the search, his heart blazing with only one goal, to bring the baby back to Tuna. Before leaving, he turned back, gripping her hand tightly. Na, wait for the news. I promise I'll bring our child back to you. Tuna choked on her tears, her voice trembling. Alex, please be careful. Our baby is everything to me. You're my only hope now. The police vehicle, with Alex inside, sped onto the highway. Along the way, they met a few locals who reported seeing a man hurriedly carrying a baby on a motorbike, heading toward the old warehouse near the forest edge. It's him for sure. Alex almost shouted, his eyes blazing. The car swerved sharply onto a dirt road leading to the warehouse. The surroundings were desolate, crumbling walls and the sound of wind whistling through rusty doors. As the police drew near, the sharp cry of a child suddenly pierced the air from inside a dilapidated building. Alex nearly lost his mind and dashed toward the sound. In the dim light, the man was clutching the baby tightly, staggering toward the back door. Panic flashed across his face when he saw figures closing in, and he shouted, "Stay back! Don't come any closer, or I'll hurt the baby." The baby wailed uncontrollably, each sob tearing through Alex's heart. He clenched his fists, struggling to keep calm. Calm down. No one is going to hurt you. Just return the baby and your sentence will be lighter. "You have nowhere left to run," one of the officers said firmly. The man's eyes darted wildly, searching for escape, but the area was already surrounded. Sweat streamed down his face, his hands trembling as the baby's cries grew louder. Alex stepped forward, his voice low, firm, yet pleading. "Give our baby back. He's innocent, you have no right to hurt a child. Whatever you want, I can help you get it, but let him go first." The warehouse echoed with the wind rushing through its broken walls. The only other sound was the baby's sobs, each one cutting into everyone's hearts. The man backed into a dark corner, clutching the child tighter, his eyes frantic. "Stay away. Don't come closer," he screamed, his voice hoarse with fear. His hands shook so badly that the cloth covering the baby nearly slipped off. One officer signaled everyone to stay calm, then spoke quietly. "You have no way out. If you harm the child, your punishment will be far worse. Don't do anything foolish." Alex could barely stand hearing his son cry. His eyes burned red, his chest pounding as if it would burst. He stepped closer, hands outstretched, his voice deep but pleading. "Listen to me. I know you're afraid. But the baby is innocent. Please, give him back to me. He is everything to my wife, our very flesh and blood. Whatever you want, I can give, but please, don't harm him." As if sensing his father's voice, the baby let out a piercing cry and then sobbed weakly. Alex's fists clenched, his whole body trembling with anguish. While the man was momentarily distracted, one officer silently signaled his team to circle around. They waited for the slightest slip. Alex locked eyes with the man, holding his focus. "Take me as a hostage if you must, but put the baby down. He can't endure this any longer." The man froze, clearly shaken. His hands shook violently, sweat pouring like rain. In that instant, officers lunged from behind, grabbing his shoulders and twisting his arm back. The baby slipped from his grasp, but Alex sprang forward like lightning, catching his son safely into his chest. The baby's cries rang out clearly, this time from fear, but also as a sign of life. Alex held his child tightly, hot tears falling onto the baby's soft hair. "My child, you're safe now. Daddy's here," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. The police immediately subdued the kidnapper, handcuffing him before he could react. It was all over in an instant, but for Alex, those moments had felt like the longest of his life. By the time Alex returned, cradling his son, twilight had already fallen. His steps were hurried, his arms clutching the tiny body as if letting go for even a second would mean losing him again. The baby, exhausted from crying, quieted as he pressed against his father's chest, his sobs easing into faint, steady breaths. In front of the house, Tuna had been waiting anxiously. Her body trembled, her eyes red and swollen from endless tears. When she saw Alex emerge in the dim streetlight, carrying their baby, she cried out hoarsely. "My baby." She rushed forward, collapsing to her knees before father and child, her trembling hands reaching for the baby. Tuna held her child tightly in her arms, tears streaming like rain, lips trembling as she called her baby's name again and again. Alex knelt beside her, wrapping his arms around both mother and child. He too couldn't hold back, his tears fell onto Tuna's shoulder as he whispered, his voice rough with emotion. "I promised I'd bring our baby back to you. And I did. You and our child mean everything to me." Tuna looked up at him, her eyes brimming with tears but shining with gratitude and deep love. She nodded softly, squeezing Alex's hand tightly. "Thank you. Without you, I don't know what I would have done. My child is my life, and so are you." In that moment, all the pain and fear seemed to fade away. What remained was only the warmth of family, of love. The baby stirred, tiny fingers instinctively wrapping around his father's, then nestled into his mother's chest and drifted into peaceful sleep. Under the soft golden glow of the streetlight, the image of the three of them clinging to each other in tears silenced the entire neighborhood. Everyone watched with boundless empathy and emotion. The disaster had passed, but it left a lesson deeply etched in their hearts. True happiness is not found in riches or grandeur, but in being with the ones you love.
chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay thì mình tiếp tục đưa đến với mọi người câu chuyện về mẹ, về các người mẹ đơn thân ở Việt Nam. Như mọi người cũng đã biết thì trên kênh của mình chủ yếu sẽ có nội dung của mẹ đơn thân Lý Hoài Ca. Ngoài ra thì còn có câu chuyện của Lý Tử Diệp và của Lý Tử Na nữa. Thì mình hy vọng là mọi video lên trên kênh mình sẽ được mọi người yêu quý và ủng hộ. Bởi vì mỗi video đều là một thông điệp rất là ý nghĩa mà mình muốn truyền tải đến cho mọi người. Và mình hy vọng rằng mọi người có thể xem và sau đó góp ý nhiều hơn để kênh mình có thể ngày càng hoàn thiện hơn. Và đặc biệt là sau mỗi video thì mình mong rằng sẽ nhận được ý kiến phản hồi của mọi người ở phần bình luận, để mọi người có thể góp ý về nội dung video hoặc là hình ảnh hay là âm thanh hoặc là một số vấn đề gì đấy để kênh mình ngày càng có thể hoàn thiện hơn, để ngày càng có thể có nhiều lượt xem hơn. Cảm ơn mọi người.